Hello again and thanks for joining. So today we've got a Lima model to look at. It's from their collection range. It's number 208145 and it represents a Swiss SBB-Bn4/4 diesel locomotive. This one is being made in Italy. All Lima tooling is now owned by Hornby and they've offshored some of the production to China. I did a review of a Lima model made in China just recently and it was actually quite a good model overall. This one is made in Italy and sometimes Lima models from Italy are a bit dodgy. Hopefully this one isn't, but let's get this open and we'll check it out and see what we've got. So here's the model out of the box and it does look quite interesting. This class of locomotive really has got a lot of things going for it. It's been produced in this really nice maroon and grey colour scheme. It's a really great colour scheme, I think. The colours work very well together. But let's have a look at this a bit closer up. We'll start on this end of the locomotive. So we've got these additional little handrails and panel at the front here which has been added in as an extra piece of plastic, and these little handrails on each side. Annoyingly, those are a different shade to the main body, so they look a bit more pink in colour. Now this is a second-hand model. It has been around for a while and it could be that this plastic has been in the sun and faded a little bit, or it could have come out the factory like that, but it really doesn't look that good when you compare the two colours of red here. However, what you do get on this piece of plastic is a collection of 3 lights which have been picked out in silver and a number on the front there which has been printed on. It's also quite pliable, as you can see, so it can take a few bashes if it needs to. Down here on the buffer beam, not much detail. We've got a dummy coupling and a couple of little studs there, as well as some rivet detail and these buffers which have been added in as extra pieces of plastic just pushed into the main chassis there. There is actually some really good details on here. The grille up here has been really nicely moulded and you can see the fan inside which looks as though it's an extra piece. It's been added in inside. And we've got some really nice deep grills on the side of this locomotive as well as the hatches, and a chimney which is an extra piece added in there with a ring of rivets around it there. And as we come to the cab end, we also have flush fit glazing and some more nice relief on the grille here. We've got some really good printing there as well and more rivet details. The glazing is very clear, but you can see inside that we do have the motor showing there, so there's no interior detail of this model. On the top of the cab we have these panels up here which are extra pieces added in. We've got the radio gear here. And then at this end of the cab we've got more flush fit glazing with some windscreen wipers moulded in and really nice deep relief on the hatches on this part here. A little bit of dust on this one as well. Like I said, it is second hand. And then here we have these extra pieces added in again. This one looks as though it might actually have a bit of damage or even a moulding problem on this side here, and it doesn't look too good on the other side either. This part here has got some really good checkerboard detail, and the logo here, the SBB-CFF-FFS, and its logo is very nicely printed. There's even some really cool steps here as well, and rivet detail around the handrails. The fuel tank doesn't have much detail on it, it's just a separate part, and underneath you can see that it is screwed together with this screw here. We have drive on the bogie underneath the cab. You can see the gearbox there and the 2 traction tyres. And the one at the front just picks up, so this is very typical of many Lima models. We have snow plows fitted to this one, which is just a single piece of plastic added in there. And then we have the coupling at the front here, very typical of Lima, but it doesn't articulate at all, it's just fixed onto the bogie. This bogie with the drive in it is actually quite stiff to move left and right, so I'm not sure whether this model will stay on the track that well. But I think what we'll do is we'll give it a run first and then we'll open it up and we'll have a look at the mechanism. So here we are as usual on my old Hornby track. It's just 3rd radius Hornby set track and we've got the H&M controller running this on 12 volt DC. So let's give it some power and see what happens. Well, it's certainly a noisy thing. It seems a bit crude as well. It sometimes takes a little bit of extra power to get it actually moving in the first place, but then once it gets going, aside from the noise, it's actually not a bad runner at all, and maybe that noise is indicative of the real one as well. So I'm going to try and open it up and we'll have a look. As I thought, it does have an extra piece put into the main body there to represent the fan underneath the grille on the bonnet there. And you can see that this was moulded in red and it has the grey stuff added in. And we have the grey roof painted onto it. It's done really well actually, the masking is absolutely perfect there. And it looks as though we have an additional piece for this part down here, which has been clipped onto the body here. The chassis is very typical of Lima models, where it's got the pickup from the front here, driving one of these flat pancake motors at the back here. These can be a bit variable and temperamental, but if you clean them and keep them good, they usually run for many years. And it has this really huge big weight in the middle here, quite substantial. It is a plastic chassis, which is probably one of the problems of this model, because it does have a lot of flex in it. You can see it here, but then it does allow it to take a few bashes and not get broken. Anyway, let me get this back together and then we'll put it on the scales and see how much it weighs. So this model weighs 292 grams. So this Swiss Bn4/4 diesel locomotive from Lima in their collection range, I think is a bit of a mixed bag. The looks of this locomotive are very characterful and it's been captured here pretty well, I think, and it's got some really nice things on this. I really like the fan underneath the grille on the bonnet there. The flush fit glazing is really good as well. And the lettering and logos are printed onto this really well. But usually with Lima stuff, it's the mechanics that let the model down, and that's no exception in this case. They've squeezed in that pancake motor into the cab area. Obviously there's no cab detail in this model because of that, and it is a bit of a crude mechanism by today's standards. And that results in a very noisy and poorly performing model. But certainly once it gets going, it doesn't seem to be any problem, as long as you don't mind all that noise. So it seems to be a locomotive you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. It's certainly not going to be for everyone. It's not the most detailed model in the world, and it's certainly not a show model. But I think pulling some wagons around a yard, this would do sterling work. And I think it's going to be temperamental enough to keep you occupied for quite some time. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think about this model in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel grow. I'll put this on the turntable so you can see all the way around, and in a moment another video will appear. Just click on that and I'll see you over there. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. See ya.